Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I'm Jason, your host. I've just been to Tesco. It is just after 6 a.m. That's why there's hardly anybody here. So let's go back and head home. I hope everybody's having a good day. I just decided I wanted to pick up a couple of items, do a little bit of a shop. And now we will head home. It's quite cold out here, about 3 or 4 degrees. Turn the power back up to full. So I've been spending the last 3 or 4 days just going through all the bits and pieces I want to buy at the end of this month. It is such a big thing for me. I know I've been going on it for months and months and months. In fact, I started planning this November last year. Not last year, the year before. So over a year. Because first of all, I had to wait for an amount of time. And then, well, the things I'm doing are not the easy thing to set up, but it's done. It's all good. And I've just got to wait for the money to arrive now, and I need to be ready to spend it basically in 24 hours. I've already checked with the DWP, and there is no problem me actually doing what I want to do. Because it's a release of capital from your house, a release of equity, though a lot of people do at my age, does not affect your benefits as long as you're not keeping it, as long as you're not using it. No, all of this stuff is actually going to be spent on disability items, on equipment, and so on. So it's just that this, especially with all the prices going through the roof when it comes to computers and technology and that, I've got to be absolutely fucking sure of everything that I am doing. I cannot make a mistake in this. I really can't. And so I've gone through pretty much every kind of configuration of computers, of equipment, of technology, of add-ons for my house, all things that could be an improvement to my disabilities. And that's the whole point. Everything I pick up has to be a positive benefit to what it's no use me picking up something that's going to be a headache. I've had to discount a lot of items out there. And so just give me a sec, I just want to do something before I go any further. Just I just wanted to turn my music off. I was listening to music at the same time. It doesn't really work for my brain. I can either listen to music or vlog, one of the two. So we are heading back home. And even now, when I am weeks away from sorting it all out, my brain is still going through things. I woke up at, I believe the time I woke up was 3 a.m. this morning. That's why I went to the shop so early. As soon as the Tesco opened, I was there. And it's just let's see, maybe cross over this side and go through this way. There's so much riding on what I decide. It will basically define my coping strategies for the next 5 to 10 years. The VR stuff is easy. I've already explored all the virtual reality stuff. I know that VR will be an amazing boost to what I already do. I've been using VR since 2019 to actually as a coping strategy, and before that I was using it from 2015. I am a VR person. It is part of who I am. It is what makes part of my safe space. So the VR stuff is actually done into... I can't have a cat VR treadmill. After doing research into it, I really would have loved to go the whole Ready Player One, but the cat VR treadmill will not work for me because it's only up to a maximum of 130 kilograms and I'm 132 kilograms. I can't guarantee that I can get down below 130 and that I can actually be in a situation where I can keep below that with diabetes and everything like that. I wish I could. So, but I've got other ways to do the tracking, like the VRchat that I'm going to pick up. They can be used to do walking motions if you run on the spot or jog on the spot. So that's the kind of thing I used to do with a piece of software. So around here, sometimes I feel like I'm on an assault course, having to dodge things. So all that is good. It's the computer, it's the heart of the system. I need a system that can run all of the VR all the time. I can't do VR via Linux, unfortunately, because the limitations of it can be done, but it causes, there's always issues like you have to reboot, unplug the headset if you're using a headset like mine, like the Index. You have to unplug it once you've rebooted your version of Linux, and some items just don't run, and the performance can be issuey. Everything else on Linux is brilliant, so I want a Linux machine for all my desktop, all my normal gaming, all of those things in there will be better. All of my web work, everything I do, AI, Linux is perfect. So I want a Linux machine that can do all of that, and I want a Windows machine, and I hate that I'm going to have a Windows, that will be purely for VR. And both have got to be very good systems. I looked, there's quite a few different laptops I could use. But the limitation of laptops, there's workstations, there's servers, I've literally been evolving my plan, and the document on my Google Docs that has gone through so many iterations over the past 12 odd months or beyond, it's amazing. I'm not going to go through the port because it's too dark. I'd have to turn the light on and see. I'm getting some proper spotlights for the bottom of to go on the bumper for for the Quingo. So at night I'll be able to turn those on, because as you know, if I turn my lights on here, it reduces my visibility and it doesn't really light much up. The front light is not very good. So I'm going to get a super 2600 lumen light that people put on a bike and that when they want to be seen really well. That's going to go on the bumper at the front of here, and it'll be remote controlled via an app, so I can actually use it. So that's something that I'm buying. All these little things. I'm having this serviced, a new canopy. I'm going to see whether the batteries, because this vehicle has now gone through 2 winters. Thankfully it doesn't have lithium batteries, so as long as you keep a charge on them, they last quite well. So it's not, the batteries still hold. I mean, I've been all the way up to Tesco and back, and only 10%, it's only a 10% drop on the batteries. But it would not hurt to have a full new battery set going forward. I'm going to get a anti-reflection film to put on the front screen, and I'm buying myself some warmer clothes for winter. But it's the computer ports that are the big hang-up. Every week I am changing the setup on the ports I would order again and again and again. I could build an Intel system, I could build an AMD system, I could get a framework PC, I could get a Legion laptop, I could get a workstation. There was literally so many. Now I know this is me complaining about stuff that, like, oh my god, I wish I had the money to buy all that stuff. But the whole point, you've got to remember, this is all to do with my disability and keeping me safe and keeping me functional and independent in my home for the coming years. This is not a hobby or something that's just a luxury. This is a necessity, and it has to work. I cannot make a mistake. I've even looked at MacBooks and things like that because they are really reliable. But the negative to a MacBook is basically me. Because you don't have, you're living within their walled garden and that. I know you can bypass all that stuff, but I don't want the hassle of that. I love my MacBook Air. It is a brilliant little mini setup. For now, it's brilliant for doing my NAS and that until I've got something better. So yeah, when I get home, I'll be going on my computer. I'll be doing more research. See, I'd be much happier taking this vehicle out if I had the lights front and back. Add-on lights. But here we go. All those bits and pieces will be picked up. Yeah, getting a scooter cabin was just too much. I would have had to register it. I would have had to deal with the fact that I could never go on pavements like this. I couldn't go in most of the parks. I couldn't go in Trentham Gardens. I'd have to go on a walking stick for that. I couldn't go round a shop on it. It would have been warmer, yes, a hell of a lot warmer and better visibility, yeah. But the money is better spent on computers. I mean, I'm going to really enjoy going around the parks at night with the lights, with having enough light to do that. See, I can put a light on the bumper because the bumper really never gets hit anymore. Not that I bash into anything often. Although, on the way up to Tesco, I did hit a British Telecom green box because, guess what? If you're going down one of these streets and the lights are not on properly and not illuminating the street, one of those dark green boxes are actually really almost impossible to see. They really are. I mean, look, you can see one here. Look at the colour of it. It is nearly the same colour as the ground, and in the dark, if it's not lit up well, I came round the corner and I went the way I normally wouldn't go, and I just came round and I just hit into the front of my vehicle. I was only travelling at like 3 miles an hour because I was just turning around the corner, but the simple fact is I couldn't see it because they are so dark. And my window screen was not as clear as it is now. It was all wet and condensation and with moisture because I had just, of course, bought it there. I hadn't been inside a place like Tesco where it all dried out. So yeah. And that just hit the metal frame at the front of my thingy, which is really, really strong. It's steel. It's not aluminium. It's a solid. It's almost like a bloody roll cage. This is. It's bolted to the frame below, and at the front and at the back, it's bolted to the frame. This little cabin that this has, the canopy, is really well put together. So I'm going to say bye-bye now because it's coming up to 20 minutes on here. I'll upload this later. Bye-bye.